Tonight, we're going to go through some of my budget. We're actually going to go through the year to date numbers. And granted, the year to date numbers aren't perfect because I've imported them into Rocket Money. And it seems to miss some, not tons. And I'm sure as we get going, it'll, as it's been connected to my accounts longer, it'll get more. But it gets a pretty good gist of what, what I spend, what accounts. And the idea is hopefully to give you guys some ideas of like how to break down your spend and how to do your categories, things like that. If it's not interesting, you don't have to watch. But um, I needed to spend time on this today anyhow because I was just double checking. I hadn't hooked it into. I have two checking accounts, and I hadn't hooked it into the second checking account. And the second checking account is what I pay my property taxes from, my insurance, that the less the day to day stuff. So I hooked it to that, but it doesn't seem to be bringing everything down. I Googled it and they said, I guess there's regulations that prevent them from bringing down more than 3 months in some circumstances. So I don't know. But anyhow, this will give you a pretty good picture because I was going through it today. Okay, so on the left, I've got Rocket Money up here where I went to spending. I went up here to the yearly, and I selected 2025. So it's giving me my year to date numbers essentially for 2025. I've already gone through and done the best to categorize the stuff um, and get it right. So that's what's on the left. On the right is a spreadsheet I have. Oh, let me get rid of that. It's a spreadsheet I have that is basically my budget, right? So unfortunately, like I said, I could do a lot of this in Right Capital, but it's okay. This had some strengths in it too. So because Right Capital wouldn't do the full amount in the budget, which is really handy when it comes to year to date. So on the right is my actual budget. It's just in case you haven't seen it, it's broken down into colors based on account. So this dark orange, this guy right here, are things that kind of in out accounts. So property taxes I always have to pay. So I fund these all at the beginning of the year. And then I will just I transfer these into my check to a checking account and then I pay the bill. But these should all these accounts, this is one of my accounts, all this orange, and it should essentially net to zero at the end of the year. This yellow one, and these are all line items that are in that account. So the yellow one is kind of things that I can accumulate, right? So the amount that I put away for emergency repairs and stuff like that, or just improvements to the house, appliances, things that I know I'm going to eventually have to replace, car repairs, because you could go a year without car repairs. Uh, and so those yellow ones are in another account. And then blue is the vacation account, which since I had just gone on vacation a few times this year, I ended up creating a new account just for vacations, which I'll do a whole nother video on. And the white ones are the stuff that basically Beth covers, which is our normal bank, not our online internet banking. And that's because her check goes in there. So she tends to cover these white ones. And then I have this special one here, which is also on the internet stuff, which is what I cover, which is when Beth isn't working in the summer. I put away I put away money to cover. I put away like 10,000, 10,500 bucks to cover the summer when she's not working. So the goal of the video right now is I'm essentially going to be taking Rocket on the left and comparing it to my budget on the right and seeing, am I close? You'll see that this is it like scrolls. I can't remember. It's in view in Excel options. I can't freezing. Yeah. So I freeze the first column. So you're not seeing it. It's actually broken down by month. And the reason why it's broken down by month technically is because for Beth's summer, it's just like it's 2 months, July and August. So I'm just scrolling over and I'm just looking at the total. We'll get into the carryover and stuff like that. But for now, I just kind of want to take a look and I'm going to compare that. So I'm going to use this. And I'm going to go from left to right, just kind of looking for stuff. Okay, so let's start with vacation. So if you look at vacation, I have two categories. One for special vacation, which is basically I told Beth when I retired, but before she retires, we would still put away like 4 or 5 grand every year to go do vacations that I wouldn't have been able to do because I didn't have the time. So this year, that vacation was the Western trip. And then we always have our vacation, which is the Wildwood vacation. So you'll see, If you total that up, it's 5,300. But if you look at my spend, it's 7,700. So this doesn't surprise me much. One, I knew the Western trip was going to go over 4,000. It was so close. We did a good job, but I did a video on that too. But it definitely went over 4,000. And then also, we're setting up for next year our special vacation is going to be going on an Alaskan cruise with some friends. So I had to prepay that. So that's 1,200. That's 12. I didn't prepay the whole thing. I prepaid like half of it or something like that. So I prepaid that. So this year. So that doesn't surprise me. And that's one of the problems I have that I'm trying to work out is like, how do I do stuff when I'm prepaying? So if this is really for next year's vacation budget, is there a way I could handle that and do it a little better? I don't know. I'm going to work on that. There may not be. This may be the only way I can do it, just by putting a little note in there. So that doesn't rock my world too much. 7,700 for the most part. We just came back from Wildwood, and we had obviously done the Western trip earlier. So I'm a couple thousand over. That doesn't shock me. 1,200 of that is the cruise thing. So I'm like 900 over. So that's fine. It's acceptable. It's not going to mess up things too bad. So food before kids leave. If we go in here, that should be a value in here. Food, food, food. Where are you? It should be one that Beth pays. Food, food. There we go. Food before kids leave. So I have that budgeted out at 13,000. We're give or take a little more over half the year, and I'm looking at 5,800, 5,900. So if you drill into that, you'll see one. We can see how far does it go back. So it goes back to March. So technically, we're missing January and February, and that's because it only extracted so much. But you'll see it's all food stuff. Good Chop is kind of cool. Good Chop is it's like a meat internet meat service that does all good stuff. I don't know what this is. KVAT Food City, 54 cents. I have no idea what that is, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over 54 cents. Okay. So right now, if you look at that category, it's 5,800. It's 6,000 in total. And I have it booked at 13,000. So you're looking at six. It's been like last 1,000 months. I'm pretty much on target for that too. That's how much you spend. Charity, that's fine. That's on target. I'm not too worried about that. That's 8,400. We're at like 5,400. So we're still in the zone there. Miscellaneous expenses. Now, this is one that's a little weird. So, miscellaneous expenses, I book a lot of stuff too. If you look at my miscellaneous expenses over here, it's one of my margin accounts that gives me extra money. So you'll see that's like 1,700 a month. So this is really low because this is 20,000, and yet my miscellaneous expenses right now is only 5,000. So that's only 25%. So I have a suspicion that some stuff isn't being brought in here because this isn't really adding up. Because I think unless we just really underspent this year, I don't know. I'll have to check it out. But if you drill into this guy, you'll see it should be a lot of Amazon. It should just be, yeah, like my bagel having just little weird stuff. And this is where you got to decide, right? Like I like a big miscellaneous account because believe me, this was hard enough just to um just to track these 25 or whatever that I have. If I really reduced it, it would just be too much. So you'll see we have spending in there. We went to Top Golf. That was a big one that we did. A lot of this is just Amazon stuff that we buy. Because we buy a fair amount from Amazon now. After COVID, I became an Amazon fan. So cash and checks. This is kind of a pain. The only way I can really see checks is, or well, I'll tell you what was the pain through this is, I think I'm gonna really work hard to avoid just ATM withdrawals, just going and taking out $100 in cash because there's no way to add a note to it. It drives me nuts. So I was kind of able to figure it all out. Um, I'm not really worried about cash too much. These little things are not going to rattle my what's the word I'm looking for? They're not going to rattle my overall plan that much. And some of these are just like, I was helping out kids a little bit. They needed an advance on money that they would pay me back. That's mainly this big one for 4 grand. So there's really not that much in here. I would probably spend a little more time going through some of these big ones. And what I have to do is I have to go back to Columbia, or I have to go back to the bank and then look up like what the check was. Oh, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Back was the same. So that's cash and checks. That really, this should be zero in the best of worlds. This should be zero, and every cash and check, every ATM withdrawal I've taken, and every check should have a home. So, or at least I go in and say ignore it. So I'm going to clean that account up a little bit. House, gas, electric, and phone. So you'll see house, gas, electric, and phone. This is at 3,500. I'm at 42. That tells me that I think I'm spending more. I think I'm gonna have to bump that up, because if I look down at this, oh no, see, this is what's so bizarre. Like this, it took in January, so it has a full year of this. But yet on other ones, I knew I had a year and it didn't pull it in. It was the same account, so I don't know. I've heard weirdness about this sometimes. I mean, as long as it's like 95% accurate, I'm okay. I mean, God help me the day it's not accurate on like a $5,000 transaction, but I'll probably catch it. Um, so what this tells me right now is I have like what do I have? I have to pay. What is it? Today is August, so I still have September, October, November, December. So I still have 4 months, and I'm already almost at capacity for this 4,200 and 3,500. So my guess is I'm probably gonna have to bump this up next year, because it looks like and it actually makes sense, because I think Jersey had a big raise of like 25% or something to electric prices. It's governed by the state, but they can still do it. Okay, so that's house, gas, and electric. Out to eat pre 78. This is like kind of our go years, and I have this set to basically $100 a weekend. So if you look at this, that's 4,800. I've used half of that, so I'm doing pretty good on that. My guess is part of that is because when we go on vacation, we don't go out that once a week, because what we do is we're eating on vacation. So that's what that one is. Car gas. Let's take a look here. Car repairs, car insurance, car gas. So car gas, I have 2,400. I'm at 1388. So I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. Basically, what I'm doing in this August check is I'm making sure I don't have any really big red flags. House lumpy emergency spending. So stuff with this, that's this guy, house lumpy spending. Um, this was like, I did a lot of work on the deck this year, like lights. I put a TV out there. I put a bunch of stuff on there. So I took it out of there. Also, I had a couple home repairs. The bathroom started leaking through the roof, and I had the electric put in the back to support all the other stuff I was doing. So that is my house lumpy spending. I actually think something's missing there. I think that should probably be a little more. And this is what got really confusing, because I was giving those guys cash, so I was taking the withdrawals out of our bank in cash, giving it to them. And then by the time I went back to do this, I completely forgot what those withdrawals were. So I'm thinking about writing, instead of going to the bank and just withdrawing cash, I may go to the bank and write a check to them, so that I can look at the check, and then I can put a reason in, so that when I have to go back and tie it out, I mean, granted, I'll go through checks, but we hardly write checks anyhow. Okay, gifts to family. So if you look at gifts to family, I got like 2,500 budgeted. Gifts to family is 1,000. I actually thought it was worse than this, because we've had like 2 or 3 weddings. But what always gets this one is Christmas time. So Christmas will be coming up in December, and that's when that's when we're spending money for all the kids, and I don't remember how much it is exactly. That's Beth's forte. So car repairs, if we cruise over here, that's a separate line item, 1,400. Car repairs is at 1,000, so I'm dead on with that. Car insurance, 887. Go up here to car insurance, 1920. So my guess is that car insurance isn't sucking everything in. Yeah, it's not, because I think I did a May payment too, and it's not catching it all. Oh, this is actually Wishing Well Veterinary. That's actually pet stuff. So let's pull that in. Let's change the category to pets, and change cat. Now, sometimes you get a rule when you're in transactions. It'll say, "Hey, do you want to do a rule?" Okay, so I know the insurance thing is off, but I also know how much my insurance is, so I'm not too worried about that. Remember, my primary purpose here is to just catch things. Like when I was going through this today too, I found the hotel charged us an extra $30 for something they shouldn't have done. Okay, so that's car repairs, pets, like that. That's in the ballpark. That's dog food. Oh, you know what though? Dog food doesn't go in there because that comes out of kids because I buy the food at the grocery store. Um, so animal expenses I've got at 2,100, so I'm in the clear on that. Medical is out of pocket medical expenses. I got 1,200. That's 745. Clothing 686. For some reason that sounds a little high. Let's see what we got. Nope, clothing's 2,100. So I'm at 686. So I'm in good shape there. Charity. This is a specific charity for Compassion International. It's basically works in third world countries to help kids with food and stuff like that, and share the gospel with them. And so that's 686. Let's go down here. I think that's a separate line item too. Yep, so that's 12. Again, this probably hasn't reported everything. This should be $98 a month. And if I go in here, that's only like 6 months. So there's a month or two missing there. And it comes in automatic withdrawals. So car insurance. Oh yeah, this is the one. I must have skipped some. So car insurance, that's fine. That's State Farm. Car repairs, pets, medical, clothing, charity, car, lawn. This is probably about right. Let's make sure everything is good in there. True green, true green, true green. So that's right. Lawn, I have 840, and I think they're almost done. I think they have one more treatment. And how much is lawn? Lawn. 450. Seems like a lot. Then you know what? I could probably reduce this because it's 70 a treatment. They only do 6 or 7 treatments. So this is taxes. I don't know what this is. I probably won't fill this in. TurboTax. That's interesting. I paid $250. I must have paid $250 for my taxes this year. And the reason that's such a pain is because last year was the last year where I had to do New York. So I did New York, New Jersey, and the feds, and they charge you extra for that. And also, I'm going to do a video on this, but I also got the estate document stuff, which you should do. I'll do a video on that too because I've started doing that, putting together the critical documents that you need should you pass away, or even if you're not passed away, you're just mentally incapacitated. And I'm gonna have to actually print them and go to the bank and get them notarized. Groceries. So groceries, clearly this should not be. This is just one of their default things. Acme. Oh, that must have been. I'm not even sure we go to Acme's. That's kind of crazy. So let's just do this. We'll just do food before kids leave. I don't even know. I don't even know we went to. I don't even remember when we went to an Acme. I don't know if it was on vacation or something. Oh, I know. It was on the shore, August 11th. There's an Acme down in Wildwood. So it really should have gone to vacation, but that's okay. It's only $60. Uh, so hair's $50. That is probably a cash, or I'm guessing hair is in one of those checks because that's another one that's a pain. Doing checks is a real pain. Um, shopping. I really don't have anything called shopping, and I have no loans either. So we could go into shopping. Oh, this is Amazon. So all my Amazon stuff should go to miscellaneous spending. So we're going to bring that guy up. It's kind of good that there's a few mixed up ones because you can kind of see my thinking. And this goes to miscellaneous. And like I said, you don't want your categories to be too specific because if they are, you'll spend countless hours doing this. And it's just not worth it. You're just trying, and not only that, the purpose is to make sure you're on track for your retirement. Not necessarily, I don't need to know every single dollar and everywhere it goes. I just need to make sure the dollars we're spending aren't going to screw up our retirement plan 20 years from now. And I don't know let's see what the loan payment is. This is just my monthly Rocket thing. So this is, I think I called this subscriptions. I mean, it's really not entertainment, but it's only $3 a month. Okay. So that basically covers, you're kind of getting a taste from my budget. We got most of this stuff: car, gas, out to eat, pre 78, clothing, miscellaneous, hair. Um, I don't know if I saw this. Hulu, Netflix, Internet Prime. Um, so one of the ways we could see, like, where am I putting that? Hulu, Net. Oh, that should be online subscriptions. Oh, I do have that. So if I go down here, there's probably, yeah, that's this. It's entertainment online subscriptions. That's what this is. Um, I think we covered almost everything: car insurance, vacation, animal expenses, pet, charity, gifts to family, Beth, summer, lawn, vacation pre special, taxes. That's another special bucket when I have to pay them. Homeowners expensive out of pocket. Okay. So basically, through doing this, I kind of gave you an overall picture of our budget, roughly how much we spend. The purpose of the video was basically to kind of show you my thinking in terms of how do I check stuff. I would probably only do this, I mean, this in depth. I may do it once a month. I don't know. Once it gets really easy, the nice thing about Rocket is every time you see something, so when you go into transactions, like the way I'm going to do this on a monthly basis, so I'm just going to expand this is I would just go to transactions and I would say, give me everything that's uncategorized. And this I'll do frequently. So if I go down, here, I'll just type it in. I would just go to uncategorized. See, I did this today and they're all categorized. I would probably just categorize them. So I would do that and add them as a rule. I would do that. I'll do that every probably once a month, but I'll go into this spending thing. Uh, Kind of when I think about it, like if I feel in my gut that there's like seems to be a lot of spending, then I'll go into this and check it out. But I generally won't go into this every month, even though they support that. I like I said, I talked about this before. I find this monthly thing somewhat useless because it doesn't give me my budget. So I may look at this monthly as just an off the top of my head thing, but I'm not gonna. I probably not. What I'll do is every few months I'll just go to my year to date and then do it that way. Just do a mental check to see if I'm on the right target. So, okay, that's it for Wednesday's video. Hope you guys are doing great out there. Appreciate everybody subscribing and everybody listening. Have a great night. Later.